All right, let's talk about something that's becoming a real game changer for nonprofits, automation. We're going to dive into how it can help you survive and even thrive. Let's get right into it.
So, let's kick things off with a number that's, well, it's pretty shocking. Think about all the work you do to bring in a new donor. Now get this, a whopping 80% of first-time donors in the US never give a second time. That is a massive, massive leak in the fundraising bucket.
And as if that wasn't tough enough, the whole fundraising landscape is getting trickier. In 2022, overall charitable giving actually went down by 10.5%. So the pool of money is shrinking while keeping donors is as hard as ever.
When you put those two numbers together, you really start to see the dilemma facing so many nonprofits. It's this constant battle against donor churn, wasted time, and ultimately less revenue to fuel your mission.
So where is all this precious time and energy going? Well, here's the culprit. A huge 62% of the average workday gets eaten up by manual, repetitive tasks. You know what I'm talking about, the data entry, the one-off follow-up emails, pulling reports by hand. These old-school processes are just magnets for errors and missed opportunities.
And that brings us to the most important question of all, right? If your team is buried in administrative work all day, how on earth can they find the time for what really matters? Building those genuine, lasting relationships that turn a one-time donor into a lifelong supporter.
Well, this is where automation steps in. It's the answer that directly tackles this problem. So let's explore the 3 big ways it can completely change the game for any nonprofit.
It really boils down to these 3 things. First, you get to reclaim all that lost time for your staff. Second, you can seriously boost donor retention. And third, all of this leads to more effective fundraising. Let's break each one down. Want to see what this looks like in the real world? Take the San Diego Humane Society. By automating just one of their giving programs, they saved over 200 hours of staff time. That's like getting 5 full work weeks back, time they could pour directly into their mission.
And check this out, because this is huge. Donors are 4 times more likely to give again if you thank them within 48 hours. That's not a small difference. And this is exactly the kind of thing automation was built for, making sure every single donor gets that prompt personal thank you, every single time without fail.
So you're saving time, you're keeping more donors. You know what that means, right? It hits the bottom line. Nonprofits using automation are seeing up to a 25% increase in the funds they raise, and that's often in the very first year. The ROI is fast, and it is clear.
And this really gets to the heart of it all. This isn't about replacing people with robots. It's about empowering your people. As Donor Perfect puts it here, automation takes care of the routine stuff so your team can focus on what only humans can do, have real conversations, show gratitude, and build trust.
Okay, so we've covered the why. Now let's get practical and pop the hood to look at the how. Let's talk about the actual tools that make all of this happen.
At the core of your toolkit, you've usually got 2 main things. On one side, you have CRM platforms. Think of this as your central brain, organizing all your donor data and tracking every interaction. On the other side, you have automated messaging tools that lets you send the right message to the right person at the right time, all based on their behavior.
And the thing that ties it all together? Payment gateways. These are so important. They automatically log every single transaction, update the correct donor's record in your CRM, and instantly send out a receipt. This completely wipes out manual data entry and gives your donors that immediate peace of mind.
Now, I know this might all sound a little daunting, but it really doesn't have to be. Let's switch gears and walk through a simple, practical guide for how to actually get this up and running.
You know, a successful rollout really just comes down to these 4 steps. First, take a look at what you're already doing and figure out where the biggest pain points are. Second, and I cannot stress this enough, clean up your data. Third, make sure your team is trained and on board. And finally, don't try to boil the ocean. Start small, test things out, and make improvements as you go.
Let's spend a second on step 2, because it is absolutely critical. Dirty data is just any information that's wrong. Outdated email addresses, duplicate contacts, typos. Here's the thing. Moving bad data into a fancy new automated system doesn't fix your problems. It just helps you make those same mistakes, but way faster. A clean slate is everything.
So once you've done the work and you're up and running, we get to the really fun part, actually tracking the results and seeing just how much of a difference all this is making.
Now, this next number points to something really important: integration. It's not just about having the tools, it's about making sure those tools talk to each other. When organizations connect their systems, they see a massive 180% higher email engagement,
A connected system is so much more powerful than its individual parts. And here it is. This is the payoff, all laid out in black and white. Just look at the before and after. Donor retention can literally double. You're looking at a 20–25% bump in annual revenue. And those 5+ hours a week on data entry? Gone, down to almost zero. The numbers really do speak for themselves.
This quote from Liz Morris just wraps it all up perfectly. Automation isn't the mission. It's the engine that works behind the scenes, freeing up your team to focus on the things that truly move the needle, building relationships, sharing your story, and pushing your mission forward.
So, when you boil it all down, what does this mean for your team on a day-to-day basis? It means that, on average, every single employee gets back nearly 5 hours of their time every single week. That's real, tangible time you can reinvest in your cause.
And that leaves us with one final thought. Automation hands you back 5 hours every week. The real question is, what will you do with it?